Okay, you've probably been hearing about NFTs, crypto, blockchain. They're the buzzwords. And if you are thinking, what the hell is this? Is this relevant to me? Do I need to know it? I'm so lost. Or if you're like, oh yeah, I love this shit. Tell me more. Then you're going to love this episode. I'm talking to my friend and one of my favorite people, Stacey Murphy, and we are dissecting what is an NFT. What is the blockchain? What are the possibilities with NFTs? How can it unite the world? There's a lot of hope in this conversation, which was so inspiring. Stacey also talks about some interesting ideas for using NFTs and technology from an environmental perspective and how that can really help support our planet. I mean, I love this episode so much. The possibilities are insane. I had body chills 5,000 times during this episode. My mind was exploding. She gave me great ideas on how I could do an NFT for Crystal Uncorked. I share my NFT idea for a business Dustin and I want to do. I mean, like, oh my gosh, Stacey has so much information, and I think you're going to love what she has to share in this episode. Before we dive in, let me just tell you a little bit more about Stacey. Stacey Murphy is an award-winning serial entrepreneur and founder of Rainbow Spiderwebs, the innovation collective that helps mission-driven organizations reach the 2030 UN climate initiatives with a mission of planetary cooperation. Her experience starting BK Farmyard, a decentralized urban farming network in Brooklyn, led her to consult startups using blockchain technology to incentivize clean air, clean water, regenerative agriculture, and sustainable living for the planet. Her upcoming book, Valuable: How Nature-Backed Blockchain Saves the Planet, helps organizations transition with ease into a brand new era of the internet. Stacey has been featured in Fast Company, New York Magazine, New York Times, BBC, Good, Martha Stewart Radio, David Letterman, PBS, and 2 TEDx talks on the future of food. Stacey, like I mentioned, is one of my favorite people. You're going to love her heart, her passion for our planet, for people, and I really hope you open your mind as we talk about NFTs, because it's an expansive world and there's a lot of opportunity. Let's dive in. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. Stacey, I am so glad you're here. Welcome to Crystal Uncorked.
Thank you so much. So grateful to be here.
Yes. Okay. So what are you drinking? Let's start there.
I am drinking water.
Yes. Represent the water.
It's funny. I know it's an Uncorked show. I actually don't drink wine. I like the bubbly stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I didn't expect you to have wine, so it was a mystery of what is Stacey drinking. Water is a great choice. I, of course, have my wine. I have a great bottle, a Kosh, which is in Temecula, California. It's a Syrah 2019, beautiful, bold Syrah. I'm loving it, and it's going to be perfect for our conversation today about NFTs and more. But before we dive in, you and I have known each other for many years, and you are one of my favorite people. I don't know if you know this, you probably don't, because I've never said that to you. But you bring so much joy to me every time we hang out. We've gone on some hikes. You're my outdoorsy friend. I just filmed an episode about Circus for Entrepreneurs, which is, you brought all that together, which was amazing. And what's so fun is that, seriously, Stacey asks the best questions when we're masterminding to help me get to the root of the problem. What do you really want? She has such expansive thinking. I just can't wait for you to hear more from her today. But I ask on these questionnaires about people as they come on the show. I have to point out 2 things you said, Stacey, because they're perfect on who you are. I say share, a few business highlights. And one, you said following my soul's purpose, wherever that takes me. Race car driver, engineer, architect, farmer, activist, educator, entrepreneur, impact investor, author, speaker. Oh my gosh, we could talk probably like 5,000 topics. So much, but that brings so much to the conversation. And then my favorite thing that you wrote for business highlights was deep peace and satisfaction in life and frisky for more with a wink emoji. And I'm like, yes, Stacey, that is so you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love you so much. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. That's really amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're amazing. And let's, you probably have, I'm so curious how you're going to answer this question. We're going to dive into it. I want to know what your zone of genius is, the thing that you're really good at, that you also really love. You have so much experience. I'm dying to know, what is your zone of genius?
So this might be surprising. Maybe you'll nail this one, but I know my zone of genius is believing in you. I believe in when people share their imagination and when they share their vision for the future, I believe it into being. I can see it for you. I can feel it for you. I can feel your soul wanting it, and I imagine it. And I say a little prayer and a blessing that it unfolds beautifully so that you have all the life lessons you need and that it benefits the most possible people. And that it's hard to say that that's your zone of genius and how do you then monetize it in businesses. But this is what most people come to me for is, I have an idea. What do I do? And I sit there and I listen in the imaginative state and I believe in them. And that is one of the biggest gifts that you can give anybody, is to truly listen and believe in their ideas, because it's so fragile, right? And it can just get popped by any little thing. And just give them all the benefit of everything you have to see that vision for them.
Oh, which that is so your zone of genius. You have nailed that. You so know. It's so true. You believe, like, how amazing that I have a person like that in my life. I wish everyone could, because I know that people have ideas and people don't believe in them, or the judgment, or, oh, you tried that before, or other people are doing that, or all the things, right? But to have somebody that truly believes in you and your idea and will listen and help explore that is powerful. I mean, like, that will change people's lives. A lot of people don't have that. Unfortunately, I wish more people were like that, like you are. But that's so beautiful, Stacey.
How do you think I got it? Is that I grew up in a situation where nobody believed in what I was saying, and so I had to believe in myself that whole time. So yeah, what a gift! What a gift that childhood was.
Exactly, it is a gift. It's a gift for the world. I love that. Now, so this is funny. My next question is actually something that you wrote, because I reached out to some of my trusted people and said, if you could ask an entrepreneur, someone you just wish you could talk to, what would you ask them? And your question was, where is your curiosity right now? What questions are you asking yourself? And I'm dying to know this about you. What are you asking?
Yeah, I believe this is so powerful. This is the first step of anything, is tapping into your curiosity of your inner child, right? So what I'm asking right now is, how can we harmonize technology and nature? And the second part of that question, which is a little bit more specific, is, and asking that question for the benefit of the planet, right? That we're a little bit off track. We've been fighting over resources. We've been hurting each other. We've been doing all kinds of damage to the earth. So the question comes from, like, how do we harmonize all of that? And the deeper question in that I'm asking lately is, how do we, I got to word this just right, because I had it and then it just slipped by. The question is, how do we use some of the new emerging technologies, the blockchain technologies specifically, with nature-based assets on the blockchain to help the entire planet thrive? Yeah. So it's a more specific question about a specific technology for, how does this particular technology showcase our inner nature? Because it's coming from us. We're designing these technologies, right? So they're designed by our own nature. So they really are a part of nature. But how can they be regenerative, like the earth is so prosperous, so abundant. You grow one tomato and then it just keeps growing generation after generation. And so how do we ensure that that's what our technologies are doing? And I'm looking at that from the blockchain technologies. How do we make a regenerative circular economy that benefits everybody, that inspires planetary cooperation?
That is a massive, amazing thought. Like, I love it. It's beautiful. And man, I know you can figure it out. I believe in you. And I know that there are some people that are saying, what the hell is blockchain? What is she talking about? So this is a perfect segue into, will you tell us what is blockchain? What are NFTs? Why do we need to know about them for business?
Sure. And I'm going to not talk too much on the tech side. I'm going to talk more on the what it means for your business side. But just at the really like nuts and bolts level, NFT, I like to think about it like this. It is the new fantastical technology. That's what I call it, but that's not really what it means. Right. So NFT actually stands for non-fungible token. And then it's like, what the heck does that mean?
Right.
So essentially, blockchain technology is a ledger. It is a public ledger where you can store any kind of virtual data. And so you might be thinking, okay, why is that important? So if you think about, a lot of people think mostly on the crypto front, and they think about the banks holding our information, our banking information, and now we're using crypto on this blockchain technology. But it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than that into, let's say you wanted to know where your food was coming from and you wanted to ensure that it was organic. The person who was growing the food and bringing the food to your table could store on the blockchain all of the steps that it took to get to your table. So you knew exactly how your food was sourced. You could ensure that the farmers were treated well, the land was treated well, the food is clean and free of toxins, and everything is organic. So the technology can store amazing kinds of data for us. And so then what the heck is an NFT? So an NFT, non-fungible token, essentially, if you think about, let's talk about the money aspect of this. So when you have a gold bar, it is a material that is, well, let me pick a different one. So this right here, this is from my grandma. This is a wonderful brooch from my grandma from, I think, the 50s. So this could be a non-fungible token. It is unique. It is a one of a kind. There's probably more of them in the world like this, but this one has the story of my grandma being passed down to me and all of that. So this is non-fungible. It's a unique. So a non-fungible token means that it is unique. It is somewhat scarce, and there's nothing else like it. You can't exchange it one for one with anything else on the planet. Unlike if you had some gold, you could exchange it for other gold pretty easily, and you would think you had the same thing.
Right.
So non-fungible means unique and scarce. And so the way that the reason why NFTs are so important in the world right now is that we're shifting into a creator economy and a contribution economy. Yeah. And this creator economy is about having access to more of your own data and more of your own stuff. So meaning the artists are really benefiting from NFTs in that they will create a piece of art, they will put it on the blockchain, they will sell it. And if it was a painting in the real world, they would sell it and they would never receive anything after that. But if they sell an NFT in the blockchain, they can put into a contract that every second sale, third sale, every sale thereafter, they get royalties on that painting. So they benefit long-term. They get passive income from something they've created. And how many times has a painting gone up in value and then the artist has nothing?
Right. Exactly.
Right. And then also is because these are NFTs, they start to create communities. People come together to buy collections of NFTs. And there's a whole relationship there to DAOs, which I don't want to go too deeply into because we'll just keep going down the technological front. But these communities that get these NFTs collectively, now they're in a club together. And one of the most famous ones is the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yep.
Entry to the club at this point is $250,000 if somebody will sell you their Bored Ape NFT. And it's just like this little, digital version of a cartoon ape with a couple, like a hat and a cigar or something.
Right.
And they're all unique and they all have different values. Some of them are even higher than that.
Right.
But you gain access to that community. And so the artist now has access to an entire community. And how beautiful is that now you can communicate back and forth around what do you want to see next? What do these paintings really mean? What's going on in here? And you have access to those people who are in love with that art. And how many times do you want to just spend time with fans of that art? So,
oh, exactly. Yeah. Okay. And then, so the relation to NFTs and blockchain is the buying and selling of these NFTs is public on the blockchain. So you see the ledger, so it can be tracked publicly.
Yes.
And then in order to purchase, you have to use crypto to purchase it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's pieces of the puzzle there that we're kind of skipping because it's hard not to talk about it. You would have a wallet, you would have a digital wallet, and that would be where you store your NFTs. And what's cool is that people are creating spaces. Now, this is the link into the metaverse. We'll go down the technological rabbit hole. There is the metaverse, which is a virtual three-dimensional space where brands are setting up experiences for their audience, and they're selling things that only exist there, that they could only have in, their avatar can only wear these shoes in the metaverse, and those are NFTs. And so in the metaverse, you can go and you can see a gallery that an artist has. And by the way, it's real estate. The gallery is real estate, is an NFT that somebody owns, and they could lease it out to the artist. So it's like you get the same kind of appreciation value of the land in the metaverse, and you get to rent it out. So there's so many avenues to exchange within this ecosystem of technology.
Exactly. This wild, crazy, but beautiful. Like for me, I think we agree. I think it's incredible what's being built. And when I learned about all this, I had this vision of last year, we have these friends who live in San Francisco, and we went upstairs to their neighbor's house. They have this amazing San Francisco apartment with all this gorgeous art, and they love wine. And so they were like, we'd love for you to meet them. And so we went out to eat, and it's like, can we see your apartment? Like, I'd love to see your art. So we go up there, and we're looking at all their art. And I had this vision of these like virtual frames where people are going to be displaying their NFTs because you're proud to be a part of the club. You're proud to be a collector. It's a unique, one of a kind. And some of these NFTs give you more than just ownership. Like I own this. You can write into the contract that they give you access to a conference, or they give you, consulting, or there's so many things you could do with this, which is incredible. A real quick side story to just share how I'm involved in NFTs. Have you heard of VeeFriends? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I followed Gary Vaynerchuk, forever. And when he was doing this NFT project, I was like, I'm in. It was May of 2021. And that's how I learned. I got my wallet set up and I bought ETH, and I was ready to go to buy one of his NFTs. And I ended up buying two because he had over 10,000 for sale. And they give you access to his conference. And I was like, I totally want to go to the conference. So I bought two so Dustin and I could both go. Stacey, I bought these for $2,500 a piece. So a total of $5,000. I get offers every day for people to buy them from me. Minimum is about $24,000 per. And max, at one point, the floor price was $75,000 for my $2,500 NFT.
What? Yep.
Yeah, it's insane.
Limited run NFTs, and people want in. People want in. And what's interesting is when you look at the marketplace, the numbers are pretty staggering, right? So there was 1 million NFT purchasers, I would say, I'm trying to remember the date when that was. It was sometime in 2021. We're up to 25 million people who are owning NFTs. So the adoption rate is just starting to take off. And on top of that, when you look at the market cap on how much, I'm looking for the numbers because I wrote it down just for this call.
Yeah.
The market cap, where is that market cap? That's interesting. Where did I put that? But it went from something like 17 million to 3.3 billion. No, it was 17.1 million in January of 2021 to 3.3 billion in August of 2021. So we're looking at an industry that hit unicorn status in record time. I mean, the first NFT was in 2015, but adoption really started, I would say, right around 2019, 2020.
Holy shit, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I have just crazy chills about that.
Yeah.
Because people are adopting quick, and adapting, figuring all this out. But I mean, and that's the thing, like, so I'm sure there's a lot of mistakes people are making, and I need you to tell us about that, because I think about like VeeFriends. So somebody listening might be like, well, I'm going to start some stuff and sell it. Because the other thing, I want to just reiterate something Stacey said. So Gary Vee releases these 10,000 NFTs. I buy one for 2,500. If somebody else bought it from me for 50,000, Gary's getting a percentage of that resell every time. So again, that creator's world, the starving artist no longer, which I think is really amazing. But I think people hear these numbers and are like, so I could just do a screenshot, I could just make something and post it. There's a lot of things Gary does right to command that audience and that like demand. But what are mistakes that people are making that you're seeing?
Yeah, and you're spot on that. Most of the people I know who are investing in NFTs, they invest for multiple reasons. One, they just love the artist, right? They're just anything that person does, they're going to buy it. They don't really care what the value is. They're in love. Yep. The second reason people buy is because they think it's going to go up in value and they're betting on something. The third is that they want to be a part of the community and they believe, like you said, they can command, this person is going to command the community that I want to hang out with. And so I know I need to be a part of this. And so a lot of people I know will invest in 100 different NFTs, and one of them will be a Bored Ape Yacht Club or a Gary Vee or whatever. Right. And so some of the mistakes that you do have to watch out for are, there are a lot of frauds out there. While this is the blockchain, and we talk about it as this is a secure ledger, and this is part of the reason why people are moving to this ledger is they want the transparency and the security, but there's so much fraud out there still because it's so new. So make sure you buy, if you're looking at a project and you want to buy that NFT, make sure you go straight through that website's link to purchase it and grab it in your wallet. Because if you find a website that just happens to look exactly like it, you might be in for a scam. Right. So make sure of that. And then what you're looking for is like any business. It's like investing in a business. Which one do you think has the community, the conversations, the engagement, the roadmap, the team, and the credibility that they're going to succeed in the long run? If you're looking at this as an investment, that would be what you would look for. And the way you do that is you go to their Discord channel. And Discord channels are some people, when they go to Discord for the first time, they're like, oh God, what is that? That's a scary place. It's dark. It's dark and weird. Yeah. Yeah. So it's okay. It takes a little while to get used to. You jump into their Discord channel and you see, is there a lot of people in there or is it just like a few people? And if it's just a few people, it probably means there's no momentum and it's probably going nowhere. If there's a bunch of people who are talking about the project, that means it's probably going to go somewhere. You can also look at the team who backs it and to see how much experience they have. And, I was advising a startup called Mage, and they're just such an incredible team. And you could just see the careful way in which they would set up projects so that the community really was engaged and excited before they ever launched an NFT. So you look to see the track record of the people on the team.
Smart.
And sometimes there's even fake links to minting. So you just want to be really careful. You're going straight there. Official links only. So those are the couple things I would say.
Yeah, do your research, right? Yeah. Totally, you're spending money here. There are a lot of scams. People are seeing this massive opportunity to just, because it's such new technology, I think it's very easy for people to scam people. So those are excellent tips.
And I forgot to say, none of this is financial advice. We forgot to mention that. None of this is financial advice. These are just our experiences. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I'm glad you said that. That is, we are not giving you financial advice. Would Bored Apes be the biggest impact that you've seen? Or that's probably like a well-known, but what is like the biggest impact NFT that you've seen to date?
Yeah, this is a great question. So if you were to look at the financials, this one is pretty interesting. So Beeples sold for $69 million at Christie's in an auction house. So that was one work of art, $69 million, changed the way everybody saw everything. But here's what I think is the most impactful. There's actually 3 iterations that I think are interesting. That was one piece of art. Then somebody turned around and said, well, if we can auction off works of art for that amount of money, what if we did a project for the earth? And so basically an organization came together and they had Beeples create a collection. And that collection auctioned for $77 million for projects that benefit planet Earth. That is significant, right?
Wow. Full body chills. That's insane.
Yeah. And it gets better. So that's for projects, right? I think there's another interesting thing here. Have you heard of Axi Infinity?
Ooh, I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it means.
Okay. So there are other kinds of impact with these NFTs. So Axi Infinity is a video game and you play to earn. And what's interesting about Axi Infinity is, so it's a really fun game. You know, you got these 3 little NFTs that you buy, and then basically they either go on adventures where they earn extra SLP, which is basically this love potion, and or they battle another person's Axis, and then whoever wins the battle wins rewards. And so people are playing this game all around the world. And what's interesting about it is that there are people in Venezuela, people in the Philippines, where the amount of money that they need to live a pretty decent life is pretty small. And so a lot of these folks are earning $5 to $10 a day playing Axi Infinity, which is more than their family was ever earning before. But here's the deal. They couldn't afford the investment in the Axis because they're a couple $1,000s each. And so there are sponsors who basically buy the Axi Infinities and then they sponsor players around the world, and then both people benefit from the rewards of the game. So the person who owns the original NFTs, those NFTs are appreciating in value as the person plays the game and wins, but then they're also earning rewards along the way for battling and all kinds of stuff. So they share those rewards. So it's kind of like real estate in some ways, right? It appreciates and you have passive income from loaning it out. So imagine the impact. The way that I learned about this is that there was a woman in Brazil who was sick, and her son came to the founder of Mage, the organization that I was working with, and they needed an operation, and they needed $500. And this was an easy way for this person to earn this money really quickly, which was interesting. So imagine the impact that for some people in the world where $5 to $10 a day is everything. And then I think one of my favorite projects right now, I love projects that benefit the earth. ClimaDAO. This is going to bridge NFT to DAO a little bit, but I'll keep it on the NFT front. Okay. So they are creating a series of tokens and NFTs to draw people's attention to the relationship between phytoplankton, whales, and oxygen on planet Earth, and also sinking carbon. So mitigating climate change means sinking carbon, and phytoplankton in the ocean is giving off oxygen, and whales are actually sinking carbon. So this whole ecosystem that they've created, they're selling NFTs to get people to raise awareness about this. And kids, it's really fun. In the crypto world, people are talking about taking the green pill and learning that some things have been greenwashed in the past, and now they want to do good things for the earth. And so they're finding projects like this. And so projects for the earth. And there's one more type that I really love. And this is a dear friend of mine. There is a project, skulls.io. It's SKULZ.io. And it's by True. And what I love about this project, it's a generative 3D NFT project. And each image is imagine this for a minute. It's so beautiful. a skull that's covered in what you would imagine like grandma's drapes, like something kind of floral and interesting, with a snake, some kind of snake coming through it, and then some kind of hat, cigar, like something that makes some kind of trait that makes it unique. And the story behind these is that, and they're moving, and so it's kind of psychedelic. It's like all these, the snake has grandma's drapes on it too, so all these patterns are weaving together, and it's really beautiful. And it's to draw our attention to our own mortality and to be better humans here on earth, and to really understand that how temporary this time is and to make the most of it. And she also is interested in helping other artists. And so part of her work is to create a DAO where other artists who don't have access to resources, they can put in for scholarships, for funds, for help. So it's this beautiful project that I think is drawing attention to a really important part of our culture, which is we're so terrified of death that we forget to live.
Amen. Yeah.
Right. And then part of the money for the NFTs is also going to research into psychedelics and how it helps people get through anxiety and depression. So this really beautiful connection back to earth, back to people. It's not just this thing that's in this physical or in this virtual space. It actually affects us on a really personal level.
Oh my God, Stacey. Wow. I had no idea any of this was happening. Like, I know there's a lot happening and I just haven't spent time to get in there. Like, I want to so bad in research, but talk about impact. The fact that people are, you're blowing my mind. I'm just thinking, like, from the real estate perspective, people can actually live off of playing these games in these other countries, all the way to, I have to check out skulls. My dad suffers from very bad anxiety and like debilitating. And your point of like, we're too busy, fearing death that we're not living, like that so hits home. So I just feel like I would love to be a part of that project. Thank you for sharing those. I feel like if somebody is watching this, because I have a little bit more experience, but not much, like as the like average person, I feel like I've done a little bit more research. I have a question that I still can't answer, and I'm sure people are asking these same things too, because it's like you have these artists who are making beautiful things. Beeple is just like, he makes, I think, a piece of art every single day, and some crazy things. And the fact that he's selling for 60 plus million at Christie's, and like, you don't have to be this amazing artist. You can really create anything and mint it and put it on the blockchain and people can buy it. And that's where I think, like, if we think about small business, I think there's a lot of opportunity for small businesses to create experiences with NFTs or these communities with them. But this is the question I can't answer. Okay. So, like the tweet that sold for however much, right? Like Jack Dorsey's first tweet, the creator of Twitter, sold for like a ridiculous amount of money, over $1 million, I think. And it's a screenshot of the tweet. So like, how can something be unique if it can be screenshotted or replicated?
Well, so there's the whole story behind that object, right? And here's what's interesting about those moments. I think that those moments are just basically a flag that says, hey, you guys, look over here. Look what's possible. I don't think that is the future of NFTs. I think it's more of the same way that Bitcoin was more of an example of what was possible in crypto. It's not the end answer. There's lots of answers. And so it's like, hey guys, look over here, look what's possible. And we're going to sell it for a lot of money to get your attention so that you know what's coming. And so let me just blow your mind for a minute.
Okay. Again. Okay.
So I want to answer this question because you were saying like, people are listening. What do I do for my small business?
Right.
How would you use NFTs for this podcast? Do you have an idea? Because I do.
Oh, Stacey, I talk about it with Dustin a lot. Like access is the one thing I think of, or like a private event or something. But what are your ideas?
I mean, you have this special space for people that they're learning about business, they're learning about life, right? And it's valuable and it's going to extend. Like you're creating this community and this community's building. You know that this is going to grow. You've grown businesses before. You know that this is a trajectory.
Yeah.
So you can almost think about NFTs as raising capital in a lot of ways if you have a project you want to work on, if you're a startup. But in this case, let's say you have a podcast. Start really simple with a podcast and say, you know what? I'm going to offer 10,000 iterative NFTs, and you're going to have fractional ownership in my podcast. And so here's the interesting thing is that a lot of times podcasts, they end up with a sponsorship model, or they have different models to monetize, or they just don't monetize at all. And there is something on the back end where people are going. So you could basically set up 10,000 generative NFTs that are somewhat related to wine and corks. It could be really funny. Like people, I could see some really fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, these NFTs would appreciate over time. Just people would want to be into the community. There's a reason why they want to be a part of the community and have conversations with you. Maybe they get more access to you on the Discord channel, having those conversations. But then as it progresses, if they have fractional ownership, you could be giving away a certain percentage of future monetization of whatever this is. And if they believe in you, and like you're looking at the girl who says, I believe in you. So I'm the first person you sell your NFT to. But if they, you have a community that believes in you, that says, I know this is going to go somewhere. And then you can also drop superpowers on them and say, we're going to have some unlocked benefits that you might not even know about. So for instance, recently there was a Spider-Man movie and you got an NFT for going to the Spider-Man movie. And you could have something where if people went to every one of those movies, it might unlock some kind of superpower where it gives you a free gift somewhere. You just unlocked something. So I'm glad that you're thinking about it because there are lots of opportunities.
Oh my God. Again, chills. I've had so many chills during this call. I mean, yeah, it could even be questions I ask in episodes so people are listening that could then unlock different things or gift NFTs. And I didn't even think about fractional ownership for the show, but Dustin and I want to start a wine bar. And what our whole model is for this is that we're going to sell NFTs and people have ownership in, and it will start here in Timnath, Colorado. This will be our flagship, but I want to franchise it and people can have ownership. And I feel like that's just so incredibly amazing. Like I work with a lot of retailers and local businesses. Imagine having that kind of connection with your community. It's like, it's beautiful what is to come. I'm very excited to just see what happens. But it can be hard to wrap your mind around. I will say that.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. Where do you see NFTs going in the long run?
Goodness, I just want to kind of paint this picture a little bit. So when I was a kid, I got to tell this story. When I was a kid, I was in 5th grade and you're going to laugh at this. My dad was a math teacher. And he happened to buy an Apple II Plus computer. This was 1983 or 84, something like that. Nobody else had this computer. And here is this kid who loves the outdoors. You can't get her away from outdoors, but all of a sudden I'm glued to this computer and I'm programming and I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And for the science fair project that year, I created a randomized art project and the computer was generating art. And everybody who saw this, and the computer would just print out randomized art, and everybody was like, they would be like, why? I
think this is brilliant.
But this is now. That was 1984. It's now 2022.
Stacey.
And then the internet came along, and so they were like, who would want art generated by a computer? And here people are paying millions of dollars for art generated by a computer.
Yep.
So you're asking a girl about this, which is kind of funny that I did this years ago and everybody was like, we don't get it.
Why? What are you doing? Something's wrong with your daughter.
So what I see is this amazing opportunity that is yet to be written for sure. But what I definitely see is that we've done stuff to death. We like as a planet, we have created millions of dresses, millions of chairs, millions of everything. And in the digital world and in the services, in the kinds of things that we could embed in these NFTs, the possibilities are truly going to become infinite. And the most important thing in any exchange, in any economy, in my opinion, is not the value of the individual things, but it's the amount of commerce. It's the amount of exchange. And so here we are, and now we're going to have so many more objects come online that are possible to exchange and get excited about and create communities and create engagement. And so I see this explosion, this renaissance of artists really leading the way, creators, this creator economy and the contribution economy as those communities are formed around DAOs. And I see people valuing, I know it sounds crazy, but because of all this virtuality, I see people valuing the earth even more. And I think we're on this precious earth in this perfect moment where we changed the climate once. And it might not be what we thought it would be. Right. And I think we have the opportunity to create a more beautiful world of prosperity, abundance for all. And that I actually believe that these technologies, they create ecologies, and this is how nature works. So I think there's a strength in this, there's a wisdom in this technology that will unfold. We can't imagine it because it is really nature emerging. It's like, everybody uses the butterfly as the example. It's like the butterfly didn't know it was going to fly away the day that it was in the cocoon. And then all of a sudden the cocoon comes out and now it knows how to fly suddenly. Right. And so I think we're in this moment where this also happened in 1996 when the internet came out. I remember when there was a time you could go online and there was a website that had every new website on the internet and you could click on every one of them and check them out.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And guess what they looked like? They were like flashy, weird, blinky things and pixelated. And and that's exactly where we are with NFTs right now.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah.
So that was the start of us connecting online. And we now know what people are doing and saying and thinking on the other side of the world instantaneously, communities connecting. So this technology, I just see us reintegrating nature and technology in a really interesting way in these kinds of ecosystems. And I'm trusting the wisdom of, I've been talking to some of these developers, really, really deep thinkers around what's really going on here. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like most of us can't even imagine. Like you said, you can't imagine it. Because our brain has never experienced it before. So we don't even know what's coming. But I so agree with you. Like I felt when I learned about NFTs, I was the same as when social media started. And I feel like NFTs are bigger. It's more like the internet than it is social media. But I was like, social media is going to change our lives. It's going to change business. I knew in my soul and have been in it from the beginning, basically. And I feel that same way with NFTs. It's going to change our lives. It's going to change our business. I don't think of it from the environment standpoint. And that is a fascinating thought, and how amazing to connect those two things and how you open with where your curiosity is with technology and environment. Like that's amazing. It really does blow my mind. And I feel like the possibilities are endless. Like it's very exciting what can be created.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Love it.
And go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, a lot of people, it's a scary thought to think about where the planet is. For me, this is a wondrous moment. This is like the most playful, exciting moment. We have so many amazing, smart people, really cool tools, and we're all working together. And I really see planetary cooperation starting to unfold, where nations coming together, governments coming together, not-for-profits coming together, corporations coming together, and people being aware of all of it. It's a really exciting time. It's overwhelming. It's very exciting. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that because I feel, over the past few years, there's just been so much division and so much like real separation and hatred. And for us to come together on something way bigger than us and work together, I'm just craving that. I am so craving community and connectedness and something bigger than all of us that we care about, So I'm so happy to hear you say that. It gives me hope.
Awesome.
Okay. So from the NFT perspective, if somebody is like, okay, I'm interested, how do I learn more? Like where are you learning about NFTs? Where would you send people to learn more about NFTs?
Well, I think the best NFT community that I have found, I would go to nfts.tips. It's NFTs, like NFTs.tips. Okay. They have a Discord channel. They have Clubhouse. They are nonstop on Clubhouse. And so You'll just find an amazing, warm community where any question you have has been asked there. There's lots of people there with experience. And versus sending you into the, YouTube, I feel like this community is really exciting. And also by participating in the community, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I see how this Discord works. Oh, I see how this community stuff works. So I think that's where I would send everybody. They're just awesome, unbelievable souls.
Okay, I'm going to go there. So I'll see you all there because I want to keep learning. And I'm glad you didn't say YouTube because there's so much on there and it's hard to know like who should you trust and listen to. And it just takes a lot of time to siphon through all that. Stacey, what does the future look like for you?
Yeah, I play all day.
Yes. Can't stop, won't stop.
Right. So what I think is really exciting about this moment, I mean, we've already been talking about this a bit, but what's exciting for me is like this Thursday, I'm going down to visit the whales and they travel back and forth each year and have their babies. And it's this wonderful experience to go play with them. And so for me, what's exciting about the world right now, or what I'm up to and what I see for myself, is to continue to connect with nature in really deep ways, to ask wonderful questions, to wake up in the morning and ask questions, or just ask or tell the universe, show me my power today. Bring me ideas that are in alignment with my highest being, with my core desires. And every day I kind of wake up and I say, how can I share my gift with the world? How can I inspire somebody else to believe in themselves? How can I believe in them so much that they can do nothing else but to believe in that as well? So I really just spend most of my day in imagination and journaling and creating connection as much as I can, giving and sharing. And what's interesting is it's totally connected to everything I've been saying is I believe that economy really is about giving and sharing. And it looks like that giving and sharing, it can be NFTs, but it can also be connection, conversation, synchronicity, gratitude. All of those things are ways to contribute to an earth that is prosperous and bountiful. And so my hope is that everybody who sees this feels the peace and the ease that I feel, knowing that, decades ago, we had horses in the roads and everybody said, we have a massive problem. There is shit everywhere. There's feces and death and disease. This is a problem. Yeah. Right. And then a couple of years later, there were cars and there was no more horses in the roads. And our cars have had trouble too. But I really truly believe that we're on this path where we don't even know the solutions that are coming our way. We don't even see them yet. And they are miraculous. They're coming.
Oh, they are. And you're such a big thinker. And I love the questions that you ask. Like that's something I feel like I've really learned from you is, sometimes like we try to search for the answers or like, I need to know this now. And sometimes it's just about like, show me what I'm supposed to know. Like as long as it's in my highest alignment. And I've learned that from you. I do that. I feel like almost weekly because I don't have the answers, but the universe does. And if we're listening and if we pause and if we reflect, and journal and meditate and all those things. It's amazing what answers you can find. And I can't wait to see what the future holds, because I think it's going to be like, we'll have to do another episode in like 5 years and be like, all right, we'll have a viewing party of this episode. And then we'll be like, did you imagine that was going to happen? Like, it's going to be mind blowing.
Now you're frisky for more.
I'm frisky. Bring it on. We'll be in our VR headsets doing it virtually. We'll have our avatars. We'll be like eating fake popcorn. I have no idea, but I can't wait. It's so cool. Stacey, if people want to connect with you and learn more about you, where can they go?
The best place to go is my website, stacey-murphy.com. And I'm also the founder of Rainbow Spiderwebs, which is a very whimsical think tank for the future of planet Earth and to inspire planetary cooperation. And that's rainbowspiderwebs.com. And we have a project specifically for people who have big visions, and that is 2042.earth. And it's dreaming what's possible in 2042.
Why that date?
42 has been the answer to life, the universe, and anything. If you have read the books if you've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
And it's also 20 years from now. And it's well beyond, everybody's talking about 2030. The UN has sustainability goals for 2030. This puts us out beyond that. It forces you to say the world is at peace. The people have peace, prosperity. They have the abundance. They have food. They have shelter. They have energy. Now, what are they doing with all of that abundance?
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Love it. Okay. So we're going to link to everything as always, but check out Stacey. This was amazing. Seriously, so many mind-blowing ahas. I'm like, how am I going to introduce this episode? There's like, oh my God, I love it. Stacey, thank you so much. One last cheers for being on the show with your water. Yes.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy we did this. Thank you for sharing. And if anybody's minds are blown, let me know. Share on Instagram, DM me. You can comment on this blog. I want to know. I want to know your questions. I want to know if you're like, yes, I'm so on board too. Or if you're like, no, I don't want to hear anything. Please don't do this to me. I want to know. Let's have honest conversations about NFTs and where we're going. Because look, we are going there. So let's talk about it. Stacey, thank you for your time. And everybody, I'll see you on the next See You. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep this conversation going. Join me on Instagram. I'm at Crystal Uncorked. And I need to tell you, thank you so much for listening to this show. It truly means the world to me. If you're enjoying Crystal Uncorked, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Okay, I'll see you on the next See You. Cheers, friend.